The restaurants you love, the food you crave, and the people that make it all happen. We tell their stories on the Paper Trails podcast with Albemarle Paper Supply.
What's going on, guys? How are ya? We are back with the Paper Trails podcast. This is episode 5, season 2, and we are at, take a look around, Austin, put some pictures up, plug it, Supperland. You guys were opened 7 weeks ago, about a month and a half. I am here with Jamie and Jeff, the couple responsible for a lot of your favorites here in Charlotte, and I'm super pumped to have them on the show just to talk about business, their story, how they got started, and quite honestly, your success in business. I mean, you guys have done 12 years now, I think.
12, as of last week.
As of last week, 12 years.
We're in a pandemic. Are we successful?
That's a good point.
Hey, we're still here. We're still here.
I'm like, our success.
And so I'm super excited to have them on just to talk a little bit. Obviously, if this is your first time plugging in, to our podcast and our show, we're all about business ownership, entrepreneurship, and the food industry. We're all about chatting and getting to know and telling people stories. Kind of the start. I think a lot of times people walk in and they enjoy an experience and are entertained at a meal with their family, but they may not know how everything got to where it is. And so I'm excited to have you guys on just to hang and share. And so why don't we just start here, just in case maybe the audience doesn't know your full story. And so Jamie, Jeff, whoever wants to start, if you guys want to start in the very
from the very beginning.
Very beginning. Where are you from, Charlotte? Where are you from? How did you end up here?
I'll put it in a nutshell.
Can you condense it down? Like, this is only we don't have a week. So.
I'm a talker.
Okay.
So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania originally, and Jeff's from Cleveland, Ohio. But we met at Davidson College, and after moving around a little bit around the country for grad school and so forth, we've ended up here in Charlotte.
Cool.
And I often say that we've been here for about a dozen years, and then he reminds me it's been a lot longer than a dozen years, so I think we're 20 years.
25. 25 for me.
Okay, no, 25 for
okay.
When I came
Late 90s?
Yeah.
94.
Yeah, okay.
I was a little freshman.
So we've been here for a minute.
Nice.
We've been here for a minute. I love this city. It is such a great place. We're, raising our 3 kids here, and I just couldn't think of a better place to be than the city.
It is a great city. I mean, we were having that conversation earlier. I mean, the growth, even just honestly the banking, the finance. I mean, just the companies moving here. It's bringing a lot of opportunities, jobs. I don't know much about like the tech industry, but I've heard it's kind of starting a little bit to kind of rumble. So yeah, all right. So you guys, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, how Davidson? How did that happen?
Well, we
Just out of
both played
curiosity.
sports.
The sports there.
Okay.
Division I sports program. She played basketball, which is
A real sport, because we have a number on our back.
Yes.
Okay.
She had a number on her back. I played
He played tennis. No number.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Cool. Well, I played soccer in college.
You did, okay.
So that was,
See,
but I was Division II. Okay, so
That's great.
I don't
Still
know.
had a number.
Nah, it was fun.
Still had a number on his back. What number do you have?
22.
22. Nice.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we were talking the other day. We all at tennis practice, we would draw with a Sharpie on all of our practice stuff, so we'd have numbers.
Is that like a thing, like for tennis players?
No,
like
it was just a
joke
that our team did, because we always wanted to play we always we want to be basketball players, whatever. So we ended up being tennis players with hand drawn numbers on our back.
That's so funny.
We're played ultimate frisbee and stuff.
Anyway. That's when we went to Davidson.
So did you guys fall in love? Like as soon as you moved down here, did you guys know
we're still working on that.
This is a work in progress. We're just
so we didn't date in college, so we were just knew each other, and we started dating after college. So.
But where I was going with that was, did you when you came down here, did you love the South? Did you fall in love with the town, the area, the city? Was it
I'll let you go.
Because I have friends in Pittsburgh and in Cleveland.
Yeah. And they're awesome towns, right?
They're great towns. You can get a little chilly.
Yes.
Not here. It doesn't. I mean, it may get a little cold, but nothing like
up there. Definitely the warmth of the South pulled me this way. That's very enticing.
Yeah.
But I think we both just loved the vibrancy of Charlotte. It was a place that had so much potential. It wasn't necessarily where it needed to be then, but
right. No, yeah,
you could just see that it was going to be something, you know. And I think both of us love that with any kind of project we're working on, whether it's our actual house, which is a 1905 house that we're still working on, or you know, a building like this here at Supperland. Or you know, our other restaurants, they're all old spaces, and I think the both of us really like to look at the potential of something. And Charlotte, to us, has always had that potential to become something great, and it's on its way.
I think for me, I went. She did grad school in very nice, beautiful places, but I went back to Cleveland to get my MBA, and when I was there for 2 years of grad school, I was blown away. Because I hadn't been there in 6 years, and I was like, was the weather this terrible?
You just don't notice it when you're a kid.
Like when you're a kid, you're just like, okay, it's like snowing outside. I'm gonna go in the indoor courts, and I'm gonna go play hockey, and I'm gonna go do whatever, and so then after, you know, drinking in a dark tavern for 3 straight weeks, I was like, is it really like? Does it have to be like this?
Does it have to be like
this? So moving to the south was like, in coming back here was great. And then I think you know, we talk about Haberdish, our third place, as this kind of settling into Charlotte, and us kind of Jamie getting over the fact that she had been here for 20 years and realizing that this is where we live now. This is where our home and
the roots for our children will be too.
And our children are here, and this is our spot. So let's embrace like everything. Let's learn all we can about the food culture and about the history of the food here, and just really dive into that, study that, and then that's where the kind of love of the Southern cuisine came about, and us like really just cementing our roots.
Yeah. So like you remember Haberdish being the restaurant that really like was that like a little monumental?
I mean, yes, in the entire concept. So it's interesting. We call it a Milltown kitchen.
Okay.
It's in NoDa, North Davidson, which is part of what actually just as of a couple of days ago is now called the Mill District, and it includes NoDa, Belmont, Optimus Park, and don't forget, Jamie, I'm blanking. What's the last one? I'm blanking. It'll come to me in a minute. It'll come to me in a minute.
Between Belmont and NoDa.
Villa Heights. Thank you. Yes, Villa Heights. So those neighborhoods are now under the Mill District, and it's a lot about the branding of those spaces and trying to lift up all of those neighborhoods at the same time. But with Haberdish, and we opened up Haberdish now, it's been about 4.5 years ago, and it's fried chicken, southern sides. The idea is it's all done family style, and things are brought to the table, and you share around the table, and the idea is it just feels it's very southern. There's a lot of hospitality, and to us, I think we did so much research around southern cuisine, southern food, southern traditions, and that was our first concept right around those ideas. And this is our second one. This is a southern steakhouse here at Supperland. So really leaning into that idea, I think now having been here for our 20 years, that it just is, we're really interested in that kind of cuisine and rooting a restaurant in a place.
Sure.
You know?
Now you guys have how many restaurants?
5.
5.
Different
Okay.
concepts.
Now you must have a background in culinary. You must have a background in food. So no.
He used to watch Alton Brown in college. I remember that.
I know you don't, but like that is so interesting. I mean, I love the fact that you guys have done research, done due diligence, studied the market, studied the area, and then found, you know what? This pocket, I think this is what the neighborhood needs. I love that, because I think sometimes, and maybe this is some suggestions to the audience, people want to own a business. They love to, but you know, they think just because they make an amazing pie or a good cupcake or something that it'll transform into this multi-million-dollar revenue annually, you know, company. And it's like, you know what? There's some homework. There's some due diligence. Like, you have to study, you know, like figure out exact, you know, recipes. I mean, just recipes off the top of your head is good, if you're at the house for Thanksgiving, but so I mean, I'd love to hear your perspective on that. How did you guys get into the food industry, and then even just your mindset on building out a concept, building out a restaurant? What is that?
Part of it is we just jumped in. Really, it was in the recession. We just said, this is what I want to do. Very passionate about
this is the 08 recession.
The 08, yeah. So very passionate about hospitality. Very passionate about caring for people. That was like kind of the first
base.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, this was his idea. You know what I mean? I love this business, and I love the hospitality part, and what it is to have all these people come into your place and enjoy your food and your team there. I love that, the family that it creates with the staff. It's wonderful, but this was not my idea. Okay. This was not my idea for life.
Put it all on Jeff, guys.
This was, he loves hospitality. He loves taking care of people. And during that time when we couldn't find jobs, to him it was a natural fit that we had both talked about dreamily years before, of like, wouldn't it be cool if, it would be fun if, but it wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. But I think when you get to like, when you start really soul searching, and then you come up with like, I really like curating, nights for people and the hospitality aspect, and then you're like, and by the way, I read every cookbook and devour every food show, and I make pasta from scratch, and I make homemade bread, and this was in 08. Everybody does it now. I know, in a pandemic. No big deal. I'm making sourdough.
Everyone's a baker now.
But yeah, so 10 years ago, I'm a Renaissance man.
Is that what captivated me?
But so that's kind of the way we operated. But yeah, it's tough to say, oh, my friends really like this pasta dish, so I'm going to go open an Italian restaurant. But I think, we thoughtfully jumped all in, and luckily we didn't.
And I went out and got a full-time job. Is how we thoughtfully jumped in.
She was very supportive. But yeah, I think part of it is going all in. And I think it's tough to grow any business while you're kind of doing other things. And, obviously
tiptoeing a little bit.
Obviously, we did things to, like I taught tennis lessons, here and there to support the family. We needed to eat still. But, but really just like jumping all in and being dedicated to it. And now you just gotta just go and do it, and then you just YouTube whatever else you need.
He uses so much YouTube, and I think that's. Like you were saying, you love to learn. There are so many more resources at any one of our fingertips that we can do that now.
100%.
I've just scroll through 100 pictures of whatever it is. Even now, we've built lots of bars, and we have lots of whatever. But it's still, when we're looking at like doing a little bar space, like we have a little make bar in here. It's still, let's look at bar cockpits, and we'll fly through like 200, 300 pictures. You can just, roll through them all and pick out one or two things that you're like, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about that. And then a bartender, is like, yeah, this is what I found. And they send it. And then you have 4 or 5 people looking, and then you get 6 or 7 good ideas. And it's having
crazy. Access to imagery, education, resources from all over the world.
Sure.
So, for instance, like in designing a space like this, we don't, we visit a ton of different restaurants around the country, but you can visit restaurants all over the world by going on Pinterest, by Googling. Do you know what I mean? So you just go through, and you can take those ideas that you may never have thought about and never seen before, but now you've seen it. And so that gives you so many more data points to build from.
Yeah, it's like, yesterday I was, eating dinner at a kitchen in Italy, I was on a Google page. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I was in Italy yesterday.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, that's a really good point. If I've said this once, I've said it on multiple episodes. But there's no lack of answers out there. There's just lack of desire to find answers. Like you said, there's so much information, resources, books. Social media, pictures, you can literally learn how to do almost anything on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Literally. It is
That's how we learned to slaughter a lobster.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, we started. I mean, I started.
I love that.
The lobsters we do here. I think the cooks were coming over to my house like. This place wasn't even started yet. This was like 4 years ago. We were just having a grill out at the house, and I was just like, "We're gonna do grilled lobster." And so I was just like, "Okay,
You gotta, this is,
and I was like,
the humane, proper way to do it.
Yeah,
you know?
let's just
so
read up on all the stuff, and then
And another thing, like these tables that we're sitting here, I don't know if they're in the video itself, but this is all North Carolina hickory, and every one of these tables was built in our garage. And so much of he does woodworking. Yeah, it's all. I mean, he uses YouTube and he loves woodworking. He's been woodworking for years, but these are all handmade tables, and learning to do the brass inlays and how to properly support it and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, listen,
solve problems.
I mean, I do need a new table for my kitchen, so we'll have to talk.
We're doing that.
We're starting a wood shop.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I was joking, but
it's real.
We have some. We have 3 or 4 dining room tables in the queue right now. You can check out the one in the wine room downstairs, and
it's a gigantic square walnut table. It's beautiful.
So you can check that out. That's one of our pieces too. So yeah, we're trying to. One of our bartenders kind of jumped on board with Uncle Bryce and I to help build out this place, and we did all the millwork, all the tables, all the cabinetry, all that stuff, and he kind of jumped on board, and he's like, I really like this. I'd like to keep doing it, and he's very skilled, and so trying to he still has a good 2 months worth of work to do for the restaurants, but when that gets done, we're trying to kind of move him to just doing some table orders and getting stuff cranked out, but we have all the equipment and everything, so we're doing cabinets, waterproof. Anybody out there, we do a lot of we use this King Starboard a lot. It's kind of a waterproof. It's basically what you could build cabinets out of originally for boats, and people build outdoor kitchens out of them now, and so it's great in a restaurant, completely waterproof, indestructible. But we just built one outside, so we do a lot of that, and then just nice tables and working on some bunk bed designs.
That's right.
I don't know why I'm not surprised that you're about to start like a custom. I mean, it's this,
exactly.
No, it's. I mean, listen. I mean, we just met, but just the vibe and the feeling, I love it. I love the just like the love of people, the hospitality. I mean, like I listen.
You're a restaurant guy.
I am, and I think that's what makes successful restaurants. Like my dad, I'm trying to think. My dad's the oldest out of the 3 brothers that he has, and they own 4 restaurants, 3 that we operate, 4th we have some partners in, and that's how my family is. Like, we just huge hearts, wants to help, loves the staff. Because I remember when my dad first came over 40 some years ago, he remembers working and like just. For $1.75 in West Virginia at a drive-in, feeding coffee and breakfast at 4 a.m. to the coal miners. I mean, he tells me this, and he wanted to he would be hungry because we came from a very poor family, which is why we even came here to America, and they would just it just wasn't the best environment. Let's just put it like that, And so he's like, you know what? I feel for people. Like I want to feed them. I want to take care of them. 100%. 100%. So anyway, so I'm not surprised you guys are making custom tables. And so reach out to these guys. We'll put their handles below. If you want a custom table, we'll start a 6th business.
There we go.
But let's talk about the restaurants. Let's talk about number 1. What was the first restaurant? When did it start? What was your idea behind it?
So Crepe Cellar Kitchen and Pub is our first restaurant. Just last week it turned 12. And that's the restaurant that Jeff one night took me to dinner and said, hey, I know what I want to do with my life. I want to open a restaurant. And I was like, I'll go get a real job. So that's number 1. And it's really built to be a European gastropub. Everything is homemade. Yes, we have crepes, savory and sweet, but we do an outstanding fish and chips dish, and we do homemade gnocchi, homemade pastas. It's a beautiful menu. Lots of homemade touches. Probably 2 of our biggest sellers are our Pesto Brie fries, which is a pile of hand-cut, twice-fried fries with pesto and brie and tomatoes on top. And then we also do a burrata that's handmade over there that our chef probably never wished we put burrata on the menu because he makes a whole lot of burrata.
He makes a lot of burratas. He's really good at it, though.
It's delicious. So right now, seasonally, we're serving it with a peach coulis and some grilled bread, and it's just lovely. They do a great job. So that's our first spot.
Love it.
Yeah.
What did you learn from opening the very first restaurant?
Oh
my goodness.
Remember that first week, how hard it was.
I mean, yeah.
Or even starting it. Imagine people have no idea what it takes to start a business.
Yeah.
The preparation, the permits, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that is, just, we always talk about this place of how many hundreds and, we think it's somewhere in the, 1,200 to 1,600 range of decisions and things you have to do and buy. And, we like to get a restaurant up and going, and there's just so many decisions. And so, for us, it's just trying to be as thoughtful as you can about as many of them as you can, especially the important ones and the touch points. So I think we the more stuff that you can be thoughtful about, and the more research and things that you can do, the better on every single decision. And don't just wing anything, and just be really serious about them. But I think my biggest learning then was just that the restaurant business is, when everybody says the restaurant business is tough, it's a tough business. It just is built on trying to get as much revenue as you can. Hopefully you have a high number, and then trying to peel off what you can at the bottom. And it really is just stacking pennies and nickels and dimes, and kind of just the repetitive stuff is the only place where you actually pull value out and make money. So it's kind of learning those lessons and really finding those areas to, it's tough, but it's fun, and we're having a good time.
Love it. Jamie, any thoughts on the first restaurant, or anything you saw Jeff kind of go through and kind of watch, just because you were working full time?
Yeah, so I went and got a real job. A desk job to make money.
Which I get. While starting my paper company, I worked in the evenings at the restaurant because for 4 years we didn't make money. And when I say make money, I mean I may have made $500 in a month. It was so I needed money. So
yes, absolutely. I think one of the biggest things at Crepe Cellar was just using what we had. It had been a restaurant. It was called Addie's Jamaican Cuisine, and we ate there a couple of times back, long before it closed. But using a lot what she already had. So we took, for instance, part of her cabinetry and built a back bar with it. And we used the chairs that she had there, and I believe the table bases, if I'm correct, and then also a lot of the
bootstrapping
equipment
whatever
in the back.
you can on your, you were talking with your desks and chairs and stuff. It's just whatever you got.
You just
what
make
you
it
gotta
work.
Use.
And Crepe Cellar has gone through renovations over the years. It's 12 years old now. We expanded into what was a yogurt shop. It was like a long alley yogurt shop. So we bought that and expanded into it to add more tables, because when we first opened it was only 11 tables. It's now 18. We put in a beautiful funky wallpaper and redid the floors, and so we've done some changes to it over the years. But I think that was one of the biggest things as restaurant number one is you can open something for a pretty good price point. This one is not this is a little opulent, but when we were opening up Crepe Cellar and we tried to find investors, nobody wanted to invest with us, and I get it. I wouldn't have invested with us either in the recession. Two people who've never been in the restaurant business, that made no sense. But now people are interested in the projects that we like to do, so it's different.
I love it.
But that's where we started.
How about after year one? What did you learn after year one? Anything that stands out to you?
Well, that's when we opened up restaurant number 2.
Yeah, that kind of learned that we needed more revenue and we needed to grow, and that was the only path to
explain the Growlers Crepe Cellar thing, because it's.
Yeah, so Growlers and Crepe Cellar are actually in the same building.
Okay.
So we cut a hole in the wall and connected the two spaces.
Nice.
But Growlers is it's a tight footprint, and by the time you put storage, bathroom, kitchen, mop sinks, dish, everything like that, you wouldn't have any bit of kind of space left.
Sure.
So our landlord was really, really helpful with us after kind of at the time retail was falling apart, especially in NoDa, and they kind of only had like the restaurant way to go, and nobody could really put a restaurant in there efficiently except for us. So we kind of had a nice like partnership there, and we were able to open up Growlers, which is just a little kind of craft beer and craft food.
That's right.
But all homemade stuff, just a little gastro, like kind of Crepe Cellar is the gastropub, but it's more like pub food
pub
and,
style,
and that kind of stuff. But kind of the first craft beer place in Charlotte that wasn't a 200 tap mecca. It was just a very well curated 14 tap, thoughtful kind of place, and so just kind of went from there.
How long before you had the Crepe Cellar that you were like, you know what, we need a, like, did you think we need a second place, or did you know
the tenant went out over there in that space as I think maybe like a month after we signed the lease at Crepe Cellar? They're like, oh, by the way, you lost your tenant next door. And then as we were getting Crepe Cellar open and we were kind of seeing what the sales were, you kind of learn quickly, and you do the math, and you know that the margins are so small that supporting a family, we needed to double that number. And so
it's interesting because when they came to us about that corner spot where Growlers now is, it had been a retail spot called Niche Market, and they said, would you like to expand Crepe Cellar? Because Crepe Cellar was very successful. It was just small. So they said, do you want to expand it? And we had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations and said we didn't want to, because we've seen so many small restaurants, when they get big, they suddenly have lost the intimate feeling that can be so powerful for a brand. So with Crepe Cellar, we just said, let's keep it small. Now, eventually we bought the yogurt shop next door and added a handful of tables, but it wasn't a gigantic expansion. So we decided to have that shared kitchen and put forth two different concepts. So we've got Crepe Cellar shooting out one door, and then Growlers shooting out the other door. And then now, as the years have gone, we have another concept that shoots out the back window. At Growlers, we've had this storage closet there that was a storage closet, just had paper products and all of our beer equipment and everything. But what it had was this gorgeous arched window out to the street, and nobody knew what this thing was for. We still don't know what it was for. It was probably like a loading door or something. But we decided to turn it into a donut shop, and it's just a walk-up window. So really coming out of that center kitchen are three different concepts. And I think that's something, when Jeff was talking about that revenue piece of, how do you take something like Crepe Cellar, which is a small gastropub, not a ton of traffic, but good. How do you increase that revenue, but not make it inefficient by opening a whole other place with a whole other kitchen? Well, you use one kitchen and you've got three different concepts coming out of it.
Was the donut the third?
No, we just added that after Haberdish.
Yeah.
That was kind of a...
That's right.
Haberdish got open, and it was just more of a fun project that we wanted to do. And
so how's that going?
It's great.
The shop's great.
It's so fun.
It's 82 square feet. It's really tiny. It's literally just a closet. And then we use, dish and prep and stuff on Crepe Cellar, but it's just a small.
I love that. I mean, what a creative way.
Footprint window. I think it adds a lot to the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little, all the kids in their PJs walking up to it in their wagons and stuff. It's great.
It's really cute. So. It's fun. It just adds a vibrancy to the street environment there in NoDa. And on that corner, one of the things too is that we wanted to brighten it up some. It was not a safe place.
You would go around the corner from Growlers and it was just like dark and desolate. And
so now we have this cute little, it's an arched window. It's brick, and it's got a little marquee lights going around it, and then the trees are lit up with Christmas lights. And it's just a cute little spot. We do all made to order donuts, and it's off of a machine similar to Duck Donuts. We do all a cake donut, and in like 7 different flavors. Super simple concept. So it's really fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
So anything that you learned from number 2, Growlers, then, like, I mean, is there anything that maybe you started dialing in a little bit, food cost? I mean, I don't know. Is there anything that maybe that you learned? Actually, how long was it until you opened up number 3, Haberdish,
Haberdish was a few years after.
So you had 2 locations that you ran for years.
Mm-hmm.
Ran for years. We we decided to kind of hold off on opening another place at the time because we invested in our property. So and that's when we expanded Crepe Cellar. So we decided to get the real estate, buy the first floor of our building, and do that. So we kind of were, kind of doing that for a few years, and then after we recovered from that, then we went and started doing.
Which is it's a good maybe it's a good lesson for everybody to know, about just being patient and investing back into the business. And if you have an opportunity to maybe buy, some the real estate that your business is on, maybe do. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously it's different for everybody. I'm not, this isn't a blanket statement where we're counseling people through YouTube, but
I think the exit strategy for restaurants is very difficult. Of well, what are you going to do when your lease is up?
What's it worth? What's it worth to somebody else?
What's it worth to somebody that's maybe not going to put the time in that you do running it and that kind of thing. So having the real estate kind of takes a lot of the risk away. It gives you a little bit more of an exit strategy and gives you options. And
smart way to think about it.
Yeah, so I think that's a big part. And I mean, a lot of restaurateurs it's hard to make money in the restaurant business. So you gotta,
be in the real estate.
No, same thing my family did.
Yeah,
we own all the properties that are, and so it's. But I like that. That was a very, very good lesson there. I think we could take from that. So. So okay, all right. So we got 2 locations, number of years, investing back into the business, buying the real estate. All right, and then what? You got the itch, and you're like, what? Because I mean, it sounds like you guys are creators, you're builders. Like
we tried. Yeah, I mean, we love old buildings. So there's a very small number of places that we're actually interested in.
Okay.
Because there's so much new development here. So. And we love NoDa, so when Haberdish came open...
So Haberdish was the former general store of the neighborhood, and it's got kind of a stepped facade, and it's kind of set back off the street just a touch.
If you look at old pictures of it, even Google Street View, you're like, it has bars on the windows, and it is just beaten up and run down. And I don't think, this generation doesn't really understand 10 years ago what NoDa looked like and what it was, and especially 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how much
because the light rail has shot through. So the apartments, there's so much growth over there, and it's a lot of new building. And
that is true.
It was not like that. I mean, it was chain link.
And just so you guys know, I have eaten at Crepe Cellar 8 years ago.
Okay.
Just so you guys know, and it was great. Just a side note.
But
I do remember the area. You're right. 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it's not what you're looking at today.
No, it's not the same.
Not the same. So yeah.
So you guys found the spot and you wanted something a little southern.
Yeah, I think because we were in that neighborhood, you get wind of what's going on. Or if he became friends with some different landowners over there, property owners over there, who would just be like, hey, maybe you'd be interested in this. So I think when you have those roots in a community. Then you have those feelers out there, and you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so his friend came to him and said, hey, this building's available, and
which I mean is maybe another point to just always network, always shake hands, always meet people, right? I mean, you never know where opportunities may lead.
So the gentleman who owns this beautiful piece of property, I actually met him at Starbucks, and we developed a friendship there, and we've been friends for 4 or 5 years, and tried to do some other projects together, and just didn't quite come to fruition. And then this came open, and it worked out. But yeah, that's the same kind of thing. It really is
same
networking.
Concept.
And yeah.
I mean, you never know. I mean, I suggest it to anybody. have a business card, shake hands, meet people, create relationships. I mean, it may lead to nothing. You may end up being best friends. You may do business together.
Right.
I mean,
and it might be 12 years from now.
Yeah,
you just don't even know.
100%. So let's fast forward. So how did this conversation? How did Supperland? How did this?
This was just when we walked in this place. It was just.
We couldn't believe that
such a special place. It needed a lot of work, but we both immediately saw it.
As soon as we walked in, we couldn't believe that we could possibly have the chance to do this. It was so awing. You walk in, it was just such a big space, and there was so much potential, and that's what we have an eye for. That's what we do, seeing like this could be something tremendous. And I think in this city where there is so much growth, so much new development, something like this becomes even more special. And I think we both knew that. And the only properties we really look at in town, we get calls all the time about new development, and usually he just turns them away. Once in a while we'll go and look, but we look at old buildings, and we still look at old buildings. We haven't found the next space for ourselves, but this was one of those. We had been looking at several different properties at that time, and this one just screamed out, "Take me!"
So you knew. So you knew as soon as you saw it.
When we walked in here,
I whispered to him. I said, "Don't touch it."
Yeah, she's
and it was like literally leave it alone, because there was so much beauty just the way that it was. It's just beautiful. So you see traces of it even now. So our walls here are very rough, and that's literally what they looked like when we first walked in here. And what we love is the idea of pulling that highbrow and lowbrow together, so you have that rough and rocky wall, and then you've got the gorgeous chandeliers and the sconces on the wall that just really contrast with it and make it a beautiful, memorable, really unique space.
Listen, it is gorgeous in here. I walked in and I've seen your guys' Instagram, and I'm like, wow. I'm like floored. I'm not the creative. I'm not like a designer at all. More of like an execution kind of guy. Like, you know what? Okay, Bob.
Make it happen.
Yeah, we need a podcast. Done. Okay, Austin, where you at?
I got a guy.
So like this to me, like, having an eye for something, I think it really is a talent. And I'm not saying it to blow smoke at you guys. It is I don't know what it looked like before, but just you guys explaining it to me, it looks beautiful.
Thank you. There's so much intentionality, and I think the both of us we just ping ideas off of each other constantly. This being a former church, we wanted to make sure that there was, there was thoughtfulness towards that history. So we're sitting right in old pews. These are not actually from our church here. They're from a 120-year-old church in Colorado that we found. But I think Jeff had a really cool idea here as far as the cooking style and the type of food too. Is that at the far wall of this place, he wanted to put in a 14-foot fire grill. Now this kind of thing, you can't find this thing within hours of here. This kind of equipment, it's unbelievable. 14 feet, pure fire cooking. It is just, it's an incredible beast of a project. But that's actually, I call it his midlife crisis. That's what we're going through.
It's a commercial grill company. You see it,
it's Grillworks is the company that we used.
It's some really, high-end places. I saw a smaller version in New York at a Danny Meyer place, and spent some time there.
He wanted to one-up Danny Meyer.
They were very welcoming and nice. The exec chef was awesome to kind of show me around, and the GM, and kind of walk through everything and talk about it, and it was great. And I got sold on it, and then a lot of money later.
So what's interesting about the kitchen here is that because this was a church, and that was the front of the church, right?
Yeah.
But in a restaurant, you usually think about that as the back. This
true.
is the front.
Yeah.
So in our minds, maybe it was just in my mind.
In your
Okay. I was thinking about, how do we make that be the front? And so he had the idea of putting it up a step so that when you walk in, you can see it. So you actually have to take a step up to the kitchen. It's elevated a little bit, but the idea was to kind of give it more of a presence so that when
just
you
like
walk
a
in,
chancel in a normal church.
yeah, like a chancel in a church. So when you walk in, that becomes front, center stage, just like it would have been when it was used as a church. So I think trying to have that intentionality behind those decisions can just make the space be used better and be more enjoyable for staff and guests.
No, I love the like you said, the intentional everything, even like the plates you were telling me are like custom. What were you telling me? Like,
well, we must have ordered.
Project.
It was so fun. I mean, but we must have ordered. 20 different types of plates to try to figure out what to put in this place, and we just didn't find the thing that was like really, really special. And
we went to a showroom in Chicago. We went everywhere. We weren't really happy.
We just couldn't quite get it, and I don't know what it was because they were beautiful plates. And so at Haberdish, a big part of our marketing and branding there is the tabletop itself. So the tables are beautiful. They're made from the rafters of the building at Haberdish, and they are, we have camel colored ones, like caramel color, and then we have white ones. We have ones with a blue stripe. So that tabletop we use an assortment of plates on those tables. So there's yellow tones and black and browns and reds all on one tabletop. And I love the look of that. It just looks like people brought a dish to the table.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do something similar here to have that family style feel so that it felt like, we like to say, this is a Southern Steakhouse meets church potluck. Okay? And so that idea of people bringing something to the table. So when we couldn't find those plates,
well, she sent me. She found these unbelievable plates
from Anthropology
that were designed by Lou Rhoda, and she's awesome. She's so much fun. But so she sent me these, and she's like, "I want something like this." And so then I
stalked her on Instagram for a while.
She stalked her on Instagram. We worked through the process of figuring out like what plates we could print on, how it would work, and we have some really awesome partners from having other restaurants, and so teamed up with Bill Roy and Bach. They kind of, were like, you design it, and this is how it works and how you can get them made. And so then reached out to Lou Rhoda through Instagram and all that stuff, and got in touch with her. And she's like, I would, she was really excited about.
Where's she from?
She's in London, and so we just did everything by FaceTime and Zoom.
So what we
sent
wanted
designs
was
back and forth and had meetings with her. She was really fun to work with.
Yeah, she really was. We wanted the plates to have a southern garden feel. So if you look closely at them, you'll see like a goldfinch, a blue jay, and then you'll see, there's ramps on one. There's a squash blossom. So they're supposed to be, they're just inspired by a southern garden. And so having those plates in this place where we do so much fire cooking, which could have a little more of an austerity type feel to it, and then you've got these whimsical plates, and then you've got meat cooked on the grill, and then you've got the whimsical cocktails. So there's just a lot of like play back and forth between austerity and whimsy, and the plates I think add that touch of whimsy that is just a lot of fun and make it a really unique place. And you can buy the plates too.
No kidding.
Yeah. We have them for sale on our website. So
love
just
it.
something.
And your website
different.
is?
It's www.supper.land.
Supper.land.
Land. I've always wanted to have one of those. No, there's no .com.
No .com.
It's just
.land. Supper.land.
Supper.land?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Easy enough. Yeah, come by the plates. They're actually beautiful. We'll throw some pictures up of them. And so, I am like, I don't even know what to say. I think I'm floored at how much attention to detail you guys have put into every part of the business.
And you haven't even had any of the food yet that we spent months on.
We will have to have
to come back.
We'll have to have a part 2 of that or something.
Yeah.
I love it. And so maybe let's kind of wrap things up. What are some things, tips, takeaways the last 12 years of becoming business owners, becoming entrepreneurs? Because there's so many little nuggets that I think I've been able to extract from every kind of story. I mean, even, what's the lady's name? Lou
Rhoda.
Lou Rhoda. I mean, even I don't know. She may say stalking. We say persistence, right? And so, finding what you want and knowing what you want, and having a concept and a style, and and being true to it, and not cutting corners, and messaging and dialing things in, and having the availability to sell. As a way to create money, to be able to there's so much there. It's brilliant, and people actually dissect what you're saying. There's a lot of success principles in everything that you're saying, which I love, which is what the whole point of all this is. And so, 12 years now, looking back. Well, first off, could you ever imagine you'd be here 12 years later from that first,
Not after the first month, but yes, yeah.
Did you think that? Or is it like?
It was a rough start.
But
For sure, a rough start.
Could you see yourself with 5 restaurants, or were you like, you were so caught up in just that one, you're like, let's. I don't know, or did you already have did you know you had a vision that you could make this happen?
No, it's been pretty organic, just kind of moving along. What's our next step? Yeah, just
100%.
Starting out small, getting, I think you get better every single time. So yeah, just kind of working at your craft, being really serious about it. I think having a love of learning, and just trying to do better every single time.
Yeah.
Has been really important. I think the one thing we haven't touched on is just the people, and how important all of our people are to us, and just
talk about that.
And just investing in them and supporting them has come back to us many times over. It doesn't always work out, but
sure.
I think the bond that we have with them, and the just kind of the fact that we've had a lot of people with us now for years. 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years. It's crazy, and just they've grown with us too. So just investing in those people, and then having those investments come back is awesome.
Yeah, it's really rewarding, and I think that's allowed us to, in some ways, it's allowed us to open restaurants, but it's also been a big part of what we see as our responsibility to continue to grow, to create opportunities for these amazing people who are on our team. So, this place, our executive chef here came from Haberdish. He was our sous chef. He's now the exec here. And he brought over a few sous chefs. So I think investing in your people, and I think sometimes in the restaurant business, people get, staff get cast aside a little bit, like, oh, it's just a dishwasher, oh, it's just a prep cook, and that's not true. It's a person, and they also have dreams, and they also have things they want to do, and they're starting out a lower point maybe than you've ever been in your life, and you don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
So giving them a place, we started in 2019 doing, providing all of our staff with a living wage and insurance. We now have got all of our staff up to $13 an hour, and that's the minimum. And so everybody else gets filtered up to pay-wise as they go upwards. And I think having that kind of feel as a family business makes people want to come. It makes them want to say, hey, my friend wants to work here, and that creates such a great environment, and it makes us so proud of the team that we have, and how they nurture each other, and how they nurture themselves and keep getting better and better at what they do.
I love it. The one thing that I've learned, just having our company now for 12 years, going on 13, is you can't do it by yourself.
No.
It's not if you want to grow.
As much as you think. You can't. You have to find good people and train them and teach them and empower them and take care of them and create a culture that they. It's what I really try to do. It's why every Friday, besides shooting podcasts, I'm at the office. I want to talk to the drivers. I want to talk to the warehouse guys. I'm in the back loading a truck up or sweeping. It doesn't matter. It's what I started doing. So it's not beneath me to do anything. And so, I love that. I love that. It's probably why you got people that have been with you for 7, 8, 9.
Our first hire is still with us.
Yeah.
Our very first hire.
Are you serious?
Our executive chef at Crepe Cellar is still with us.
What's his name?
Steve Cooney.
Shout out to Steve. You've been
That's
here
right.
since the beginning.
Steve.
Love it. But any other tips? 12 years of becoming entrepreneurs? Anything that you can look back on? Patience, discipline, live below your means, invest in yourself in the future. I don't know, anything that really just, if for your story rings true?
I know I have a couple things.
Sure,
go for it.
One
Let's see
is
what
just
you
having
have.
having a vision for whatever place it is that you want to open up, whether it's whatever kind of business it is. Like, get a vision in mind so that you can steer
Very
your
tight
ship.
brand and stick to it.
Well, and that's the other part that I was going to say is about the branding part. There's a lot of ways to build a brand, and I think we've realized as a husband-wife team that is also a way of building a brand, is making sure that, that we're taking care of our businesses as a couple, and that it feels like a family business, and that, we can, I write articles sometimes, or, he'll go on different podcasts, but treating that as a way of building your business's brand. You can do it through plates. You can do it through the style of the restaurants, or the type of service, or the food that you serve, or whatever business it is, the little details like that. But it doesn't have to be advertising where you're just shelling money out. It's build the brand within your business itself, and let that.
It's so
speak for
helpful,
itself.
because even when you're sitting around and we're talking of, okay, so what candle holder are we gonna pick? If you know what the brand is and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do, it, like, those, little decisions kind of fall in line a lot better, and I think it just, like, brings everything together. But it makes making decisions so much easier, because you're like, okay, we gotta,
Does it fit, or
we
does it
gotta,
fit? No.
yeah, stick to the brand. So.
I love it. Cool. Well, this was awesome.
Thanks for having
This
us.
was, honestly, this was a joy. I really love hearing your story. I learned. I really enjoyed speaking and, like, meeting people, and then, like, knowing the background, and and so appreciate it. Jamie,
Thank
Jeff, awesome. Congratulations. And listen, if you guys have not tried out any of their restaurants, you got to. We have Crepe Cellar, we have Growlers next door, okay, a little pub. We have Haberdish.
Yep.
We have the donuts around the corner, right, with the lights and the whole thing, which, and just so you know, the smells that are coming out of the kitchen right now,
I'm hungry right now.
I'm salivating.
Yeah.
And then obviously over here in Central, Supperland, it's just, congratulations, and I don't even know what to say. You guys are an awesome duo, an awesome couple. And I can kind of see your thumbprint on all, like, it makes sense why you have what you have. I'm being serious. It's, I've met a bunch of people through my family and through, and I love it. I look forward to everything you guys are going to do in the future. And we appreciate you having on the show, on the Paper Trails podcast.
Thank you for having us.
So anyway,
it was fun.
Come visit these guys. Good to see you guys again. We were wrapped up. What we said, episode 5 of season 2. If you have not subscribed or commented or liked, what are you waiting for? Come on, let's build it up. So anyway, good to see you guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.
The restaurants you love, the food you crave, and the people that make it all happen. We tell their stories on the Paper Trails podcast with Albemarle Paper Supply.